Okay, so I've got 3 packages here that are all fight related, and they're all gonna either improve my channel or help me get better at fighting. I'll just explain as I go. So number 1, this, you can't really tell now, I'm probably gonna have to take it out. Okay, so this is number 1, but it's probably still pretty unclear what this is. I'll show you in a minute. Number 2 is this one. Boom, and that's a gi. And number 3 is this one. And this one is just really gonna help me improve my jiu-jitsu game, and I'm just super stoked about it. I just think it's really gonna help me get to the next level. And it's this. And if that's unclear right now why this is gonna help my jiu-jitsu game, just keep watching. So, funny story about this gi actually is that I probably bought it 5, maybe even 6 months ago. It just took me forever to take out of the box. I do a pretty fair bit of gi training, but for whatever reason I just wasn't rushing to take it out of the packaging, and this is my first dark gi and I like it. So the first thing I unboxed was actually these right here, which are clearly some boxing gloves, but what you really got to see is what it looks like when it's turned on. Boom. I don't know how well you can see that right now, but when it's actually dark out and I get this hung up on the wall, it's going to be so sweet to look at, and I'm super hyped about it. So obviously this video is titled Training Camp, and that's because I have a competition that I just signed up for coming up on March 19th. So we're about 6 weeks away, and I wanted to just kind of make a video vlog series of just what my training camp looks like for this event and how I prepare for a competition. So this is just a quick little no-gi training session that I had on a Friday night with a couple of guys.
Ooh, nice bye.
And I actually forgot to bring my camera for this, so my girlfriend was recording on her iPhone. So obviously you'll be hearing a little bit of commentary throughout from her. She just couldn't help herself to add her comments.
Spider-Man. Stretch, stretch, stretch.
So thank you so much, Maddie, for that. Now in this session, it was taught by Judo Greg here, and actually the training partner I'm with is also named Greg, so that's kind of funny. Anyways, we usually do a lot of wrestling, especially to warm up with Greg's classes, and often we'll do a little bit of wrestling at the end, and you'll see that in this video. So we started off with just some hand fighting and then just some arm drags to the back. We also worked on some shoulder work to break the grip, and just a couple of other entries to some nice takedowns. At this point in the session, Piper had arrived, that's the guy in the white shirt here, and we kept working on some good old wrestling. So we kind of just went back and forth with different entries on single legs, double legs, and it was all kind of set up from this double overhook position where you just kind of hold the back of the person's shoulders and control them by pulling them around. Next we moved into some knee cutting, and this is like the specialty of the instructor here, Judo Greg. He's so good at it and it's just impossible to stop him. So he showed us some really cool details here to make sure that you get the underhook on the opposite side of your knee cut, and some cool setups into arm bars, and a couple of other cool little details with leg pummeling, and we even worked on a leg pin on the other side. Then because it was such a small class on this day, Greg was just kind of opening it up to allow us to train whatever we wanted to, and he asked if there was anything specific we wanted to work on. So given that Grappling Industries, the competition I'm training for, allows toe holds and knee bars, even at the blue belt level, I wanted to kind of work on that because I'm not super familiar with it, and I know he was just really good at that part of the game, so I'd like to pick his brain and just get some technical tips. We worked on a few different entries to the knee bar here based off of the toe hold because it really opens things up. And honestly, at first I was really having an issue finishing the knee bar, but he showed us some cool ankle controls that really helped me to figure that out. Then we got into the sparring side of things. Then right off the bat, Piper and I were doing some hand fighting, and I actually had this nice Russian tie on him, but it didn't stop him from just literally scooping me off of my feet, and we just landed in this weird side control position. If you watched my last video, you know that I was working on this platypus guard where I trapped the hand behind my opponent's back. And I actually was able to pull it off here on Piper and get a nice little sweep. Now we battled back and forth in this position here, and I was able to put him flat on his back, and I was trying to get into mount, but it didn't really work here because he just kind of shrimped onto his side, so he exposed his back, and I started going for kind of a crucifix position, but it ultimately failed and I ended up on my own back, and we were just back into this disengaged position. As things progress, I kind of fall back onto a straight ankle lock here, and I rolled with him as he stepped over, but again we broke away and I was back to passing. Piper was able to sweep me onto my side here and eventually get into a north-south position, and then into a knee on belly, and it looked like he was starting to go to a saddle, but I was able to sit up and then I ended up on top. But he does this super annoying no-gi baseball bat choke that works on me all the time, and he got one in pretty deep here, but luckily I was able to roll onto my back because that is just an embarrassing one to lose to. But then I end up on top looking for a knee bar of my own, and I'm not able to keep my legs secure enough, so he slips out the back and starts going for my back. Now with a quick little step to the side, Piper is able to get around my guard and ends up in mount, and he starts going for a mounted triangle, but I'm able to slip out the bottom. Unfortunately though, he locked up with Dars and it was just super tight, so I had to tap. Now in this next round, I'm fighting Judo Greg, and he's a black belt in both jiu-jitsu and in judo, and he beats me up like nobody else. One thing you'll notice about Greg is that he never stops moving and just drowns me in attacks. I never really feel safe in any position here, so I'm always defending, and as a result I just look like I'm so defenseless. In this scramble here, he gets up quickly and I try to lock up a pretty lame looking De La Hiva. Once again he just smash passes me. Now I find myself once again into a Dars, and for the second time on this day I'm tapping to a Dars. So we reset on the feet here, and I'm trying to work some takedowns, but remember, Greg is a judo black belt and he really makes me just look silly. Although I can't make much happen, eventually I start feeling confident and I end up with a nice underhook. So I decide to step in front and I'm looking for a throw, and I'm going to pause it here because I want you guys to guess from these three options. A, was I able to get a nice throw on Greg? B, did it not work out and we had to reset? Or C, did I get thrown ragdolled back onto my own back? Now if you guess C, you'd be correct. And right away, as we've seen with the rest of this round, Greg is attacking right away my neck, my arms, and eventually a triangle here. It's hard to tell, but Greg is also always doing these little wrist locks that force you to move your arms into positions where you just don't want to put them. Eventually, I'm able to turn him on his side and I can come up, but I'm right in his teepee choke, which is another one of his classic moves. So for the last round of the day, I roll with the other Greg, and for this one the camera work was a little bad. Sorry, Maddie. So I'm just going to show you the highlights, or more specifically the highlights for Greg, because I was just getting beat up. Right off the bat, he lands this quick heel hook on me, but then we get back up to the feet, Greg comes back into his guard, and I'm able to knee cut into a pass that I thought was going to lead into a nice Dars choke. I end up on my back, but as some of you probably know, you can still finish the Dars from your back, except I couldn't at all here, and he was able to break out of it. I tried wrestling up for bottom, and instead this time he throws me in a Dars, and for the third time of the day, I am tapping to a Dars. Now as I'm passing again, I try to jump on a Kimura, which is one of my favorite things to do, but it kind of fails and I end up falling back onto a straight ankle lock. My plan here was never to go for the straight ankle lock. I was really trying to sit up and turn into an inside Ashigarami to go for the knee bar that we had been drilling on that day. Except Greg was really smart here and he's pretty well versed in the leg lock game, so he's able to turn his knee and get out, and that kind of ends this round. And no Judo Greg class would be done without some good old wrestling, so that's what we did here, starting from single leg, and then starting from a body lock on the back, and finally starting from over under. Here are just a few highlights, and Maddie had something to say.
Oh, big hug.
And now at the end of my back take round with Greg,
Oh my god.
it sounds like he gets taken down, but the camera got moved away, so I guess we'll never know. With Piper, he's able to get this beautiful head and arm toss, and then in the next one, I'm able to get to his back, but he jumps on a knee bar, and that's the way this class ends. It was a really good one, and I was exhausted.
So today is Saturday, and hopefully you enjoyed yesterday's training commentary. I'm actually not going to be getting into the gym for any jiu-jitsu training today, but I am at the gym. Oh my god, that scared me. I am at the actual gym to do some weightlifting and some conditioning training, so I'm going to take you in for that. Now, honestly, in the past, I'm pretty guilty of just doing bodybuilding training and somewhat powerlifting training just because it's what I've enjoyed so much, and like I feel like I look great and feel great when I do that. But now that I really want to start taking my jiu-jitsu game more competitively and really try to win some tournaments, I think I should be a little bit smarter about my training and kind of leave my ego at the door in terms of just lifting heavy weight and just doing like the traditional bodybuilding type of movements. So this will be day one of doing that. For these next like 3 weeks, I really want to do a lot of strength training, a lot of cardio training, but prioritize my time on the mat a little bit more, where in the past it's been the reverse, where I spent too much time lifting and not enough time actually doing jiu-jitsu. So for these first 3 weeks, I'll still be doing an upper-lower split for my lifting, but it'll be more geared towards athletic performance versus just, building muscle and looking good. I'll also be kind of eating less strict of a diet and sort of eating more of just whatever I want to just feel good. Whereas the last 3 of these 6 weeks, I'll have to be a little bit more geared up on my diet and eating more healthily, which will probably give me a little bit less energy to train. And my training and lifting sessions might take a little bit of a hit for that, but hopefully I'll be peaking at the right time for my competition. Anyways, enough of that. I'm going to get in the gym now and hopefully be able to film some stuff without looking like a complete weirdo. So jumping into this workout here, I just wanted to briefly go over kind of what I'm going to be doing for this camp. And I'm planning to lift about 4 times a week, rotating between a leg day, push day, and a pull day. And for this leg day workout, I did about 3 sets of 10 reps for each exercise, or maybe like a little bit more than 10 reps on some things. And that's a little bit different than what I'm used to doing, because obviously for hypertrophy and for growing your muscles, a lower rep range can sometimes be smart. But in this case, since I'm trying to focus more so on jiu-jitsu strength, which really emphasized being able to hold and squeeze for a long period of time, I did a higher rep range for this workout. Over the next few weeks, I'm not going to be trying to put on too much weight because I'm already weighing about 160 to 162 pounds, maybe on a bad day, and I have to cut to 155 for the tournament. While I try to build and maintain some strength at this point, I don't want to try to grow too much, because in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I will be having to cut around 5 pounds. So you see I started here with squats, and since I haven't been able to get under a bar for a long time, I was really happy with 185 for 3x10. Then I moved into some stiff leg deadlifts to target the hamstrings, and then some accessory movements with the hamstring curl as well as the quadricep extension. And I know at this point you're probably thinking, is this really different than a bodybuilding style workout? And because of the rep range, it's a little bit different, but then I moved into some more explosive movements after this. Here are some alternating jumping split squats that I supersetted with some box jumps. And finally, for the last superset, I did a little bit of core with some toes to bar, followed by medicine ball, trunk rotations, and finally overhead med ball sit-ups. And then I finished the workout on the treadmill with about a 6.5 pace for around 8 minutes.
So after I posted my last video, my brother sent me a message and he said, "Good video, but you did your ice bath wrong." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, it was super cold. I put the ice in there. Like, the water was freezing already." And he said to me, "Yeah, but we're Canadian. You have to do a Canadian ice bath." So I can't let my little brother punk me, so that's what we're doing today. Is this even clean? There was a stick in there. Okay, so there's the snow. I don't know if you can see it. Looking like an Arctic glacier in here, so time to get in. Now, in case you were still wondering about why this was important for my jiu-jitsu game, it's because of these moments right here, where I just sit back and I relax. I'll just do a bit. I'm so cold. Keep me focused. So that's done. Now, if you're wondering why I do this, obviously it's great for recovery, just for like, you know, for your muscle recovery. It gets rid of your gets rid of your inflammation, which is obviously great for recovery and just makes you feel a lot better. And honestly, when you get out of the cold plunge, you just feel like so energized and so good, and it's really cool. And obviously there's a lot of other benefits. It helps your sleep, it's good for your skin, and there's just a million other things. But another reason is just mentally, it's so tough to get in this thing. Like every time I do it, I just stall so much before I want to jump in. And then I finally do it and I feel like I conquered something. And I feel like it's smart to do leading up to a jiu-jitsu competition, because when you get out there and you're just warming up, you're in the ball pen, you're about to step on the mats, there's so many nerves and so much anxiety running through you, and you're just like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I could get hurt. Was this a mistake? Am I trained enough? And all you have to do is just clear your mind, have some confidence, and just jump right in. And that's what I do here. I feel like I'm building some mental strength when I do this. And so I'm gonna probably do it once a week at least, leading up to the competition, and hopefully it will help me to visualize, be able to like center myself, clear my mind, and just gain some confidence. So yeah, so I'm gonna shower now because that water was kind of gross. I don't know if you've ever seen those TikToks where they like melt a cup of snow in the microwave and then there's like all that bacteria in it, and I just bathed in that, so kind of gross. Anyways, peace out.